Well, Psalm 68 is a messianic psalm from David that we learned. This one actually is attributed to him, but another one about God and some attributes and things we get to learn about. So, verse 1, let God arise, let his enemies be scattered. Let them also that hate him flee before him. As smoke is driven away, so drive them away. As wax melteth before the fire, so let the wicked perish at the presence of God. But let the righteous be glad, let them rejoice before God, yea, let them exceedingly rejoice. Sing unto God, sing praises to his name, extol him that rideth upon the heavens by his name, Jah, and rejoice before him. So this is Jehovah, Jesus Christ, basically. Adonai is another name from some of the ancient scriptures as well. Verse 5, a father of the fatherless and a judge of the widows is God in his holy habitation. Now, I like verse 5. There's two great attributes we learn about God. Father of the fatherless, so he is our father. There's a parental connection, relationship that's made in there. And judge. He is to be our judge and to work with us and evaluate us. So, what is sin? What is wickedness? What is good? What is bad? Is based upon God's perspective, what he says, basically. And he's going to work with us on these things. Now, verse 6, God setteth the solitary in families. He bringeth out those which are bound with chains, but the rebellious dwell in a dry land. So even people who are solitary, meaning they have no family, they will get put into families. They will be connected with other people. And he bringeth those out which are bound with chains. So God will help those who are bound and held captive to be free. Now, this one isn't so much, I think, a literal one, like he's not going to help people who are prisoners, in a foreign lands or things like that. But this is, I think, more of the chains of hell, dealing with sin, that he will help break those bands of hell and the chains so that we can escape spiritual death, basically. But it's fascinating. It says the rebellious dwell in a dry land. Now, why would the rebellious dwell in a dry land? It's because they left where God is, which is abundance, and they have moved out. They are in an area that has no resources. So this is a good point for us to understand when people want to rebel against leadership in the church. Is you have to be really careful about this, because rebellion for rebellion's sake is not what we're supposed to do. Article Faith number 12 mentions this and talks about this, that this basically there is no room for rebellion in the gospel of Jesus Christ. There's obedience, but not rebellion. And so the rebellious are going to be left to themselves, basically. Verse 7, O God, when thou wentest forth before thy people, when thou didst march through the wilderness, Selah. The earth shook, the heavens also dropped at the presence of God. Even Sinai itself was moved at the presence of God, the God of Israel. Thou, O God, didst send a plentiful rain, whereby thou didst confirm thine inheritance when it was weary. Thy congregation hath dwelt therein. Thou, O God, hast prepared of thy goodness for the poor. The Lord gave the word. Great was the company of those that published it. So this is, God helps those who need help. God is blessing the lives of others and being kind and loving with others. Verse 12, kings of armies did flee a space, and she that tarried at home divided the spoil. Though ye have lien among the pots, yet shall ye be as the wings of a dove covered with silver, and her feathers with the yellow gold. Now this might sound like a strange verse, verse 13 in there. Why would a bird want their wings covered in metals? I mean, they look fancy, but they're not going to fly anywhere and go anywhere. Um, Scholars, just if this sounds like a weird one, it kind of is. Scholars, a lot of scholars these days still don't quite know how to handle that verse. Not quite sure what the correct translation really is on that one. So just if it's confusing the scholars, yeah, the rest of us are just going to have to accept it and move on. Verse 14, when the mighty scattered kings in it, it was white as snow in Salmon. The hill of God is as the hill of Bashan, and high hill as the hill of Bashan. So let's see. Where to go? Sorry. Verse 16. Why leap ye high hills? Is the hill which God desireth to dwell in, yea, the Lord will dwell in it forever. So this is kind of talking about hills in there, and God has built his temple on a hill. He has got his place of dwelling on a hill. Why are you trying to beat his dwelling place? So kind of an idea of the worldly aspirations will never be greater than God's, the things of God, basically. So verse 17, the chariots of God are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them as in Sinai, in the holy place. Thou hast ascended on high. Thou hast led captivity captive. Thou hast received gifts for men, yea, for the rebellious also, that the Lord God might dwell among them. Now, just so you know, in verse 18, where it says, thou hast received gifts for men, that's not saying, I'll give you a man if you give me a gift. That can be translated from. So God has received gifts from men, basically. Now, verse 19, blessed be the Lord, who daily loadeth us with benefits, even the God of our salvation, Selah. He that is our God is the God of salvation, and unto God the Lord belong the issues from death. But God shall wound the head of his enemies, and the hairy scalp of such an one as goeth on still in his trespasses. The Lord said, I will bring again from Bashan, I will bring my people again from the depths of the sea, that thy foot may be dipped in the blood of thine enemies, that the tongue of thy dogs in the same. They have seen thy goings, O God, even the goings of my God, my King in the sanctuary. The singers went before, the players of instruments followed after. Among them were the damsels playing with timbrels. Bless ye God in the congregations, even the Lord from the fountain of Israel. There is little Benjamin with their ruler, the princes of Judah and their council, the princes of Zebulun and the princes of Naphtali. Thy God hath commanded thy strength. Strengthen, O God, that which thou hast wrought for us. Because of thy temple at Jerusalem shall kings bring presents unto thee. Rebuke the company of spearmen, the multitude of the bulls, with the calves of the people, till every one summit himself with pieces of silver. Scatter thou the people that delight in war. Princes shall come out of Egypt. Ethiopia shall soon stretch out her hands unto God. Now, verse 31 there actually has been used in past decades as showing that God does love blacks and Africans and other racial groups as well, which I don't think you necessarily need a verse to prove that, because if you look at the teachings of Christ in the New Testament about loving people, there's no room for racism in his teachings either. But it's another nice opportunity to learn truths of the gospel. Now, verse 32, sing unto God, ye kings of the earth, O sing praises unto the Lord, Selah. To him that rideth upon the heavens of heavens, which were of old, lo, he doth send out his voice, and that a mighty voice. Ascribe ye strength unto God, his excellency is over Israel, and his strength is in the clouds. O God, thou art terrible out of thy holy places. The God of Israel is he that giveth strength and power unto his people. Blessed be God. So some fun things we get to learn in there about God and our relationship with him, the things he'd want us to do to help us out. So let's jump over to the next psalm as we continue to learn more.